Hi, my name is Neb Camus Sen Atumri. I am also Noble El Sayed Taj El Nawur of the United Nubians, Nation of Moors. And this must-see video is entitled, What? Nubians? Indigenous people? Oh no, we can't have that. Cush, who was the father of Nimrod, was black and from the land of Cush, Ethiopia, which has always been Nubians or black countries. These are also African countries, which we as a people were in Africa first, Egypt first. We then migrated over to Babylon and were still black. After Nimrod built up his empire, he had his people to build the Tower of Babel in Babylon. They lived in Africa first, so they went over there to build the Tower of Babel. So the Babylonians, that group of people that were there speaking one language, were all black people and Nimrod's people. So when the Yahweh deity Tammuz, a Sumerian deity, Ezekiel 8:14, God, and the other Elohim saw this, they went down to stop them from building this Egyptian artifact in Babylon. Nimrod was aware of the Nitirat, supreme beings, before Tammuz's appointment and refused to worship him, Tammuz, but went back to the worship of Anu, the heavenly one, according to Sumerian doctrine, who appointed Tammuz. So this is another whole kind of character. Thus the Nitirat scattered them abroad. So you had black people from Babylon who were once from Africa, who went in different directions, intermingled with other people. That's another merging in with other races of black people. It goes back as far as Nimrod. So when they could no longer understand each other and were speaking different languages, they went in all different directions. They went towards Europe, India, China. Thus you had black Chinese, blacks in Europe, blacks in India. Blacks were everywhere first, which is why you find them all over the planet. Yet no one knows how they got there, because everyone teaches blacks came from Africa, when in actuality blacks were everywhere before there was an Africa, Asia, Europe, Australia, and so on. For the same reason, you find pyramids all over the planet, under and above water or the ground. And this is the same reason you will find blacks on all continents of the planet Earth. Blacks are the original people and were everywhere first, before the continental drift. Now, Noble Reverend Dr. Malachi Z. York, 33 degrees / 720 degrees, is a descendant of Ben York through Old York, referred to as Yusuf Ben Ali, a Malian Moor, as well as a Seminole from the Yamasee Native American tribe of mound builders affiliated with the Washita. In Georgia, the Rock Eagle Mound is built by our own ancestors and many others in such states as Wisconsin, Ohio, South Carolina, Louisiana, Tennessee. The Yamasee tribe of mound builders affiliated with the Washita is an order that protects the secrets of their tribe, the Yamasee, their language, and their culture, which links back to the Moors and the Nubians, to what is called Egypt, and it's called Nuwaupu. The name York ties him directly to a Native American tribe, the Yamasee, tribe of black Native Americans and Seminoles, through his grandfather, Ben York, who married a Washoe woman, making him a Washita also. Black Eagle is his Native American name from the Washita of the York family on his mother's side of the family, being she was related to her husband, David P. York. We moved to Eatonton, Georgia because we are the Yamasee, a branch of the Washita Moors, the mound builders. The name Seminole is a Creek word meaning run away, signifying emigrants, or those who left the main body and settled in another part of the country. There are 5 tribes that make up the Seminole: the Oconee, the Yamasee, the Apalachicola, the Yuchi, and the Lower Creek. Tribes like the Yamasee and the Oconee are a mixture of original Nubians and Native Americans, just as the Shoshone tribe is a mixture of Nubian and Native American. Now, the independence for colonial countries and people, a declaration that has been adopted by the General Assembly of the United Nations on December 14, 1969-80, states the subjection of people to alien subjugation, domination, and exploitation constitutes a denial of fundamental human rights as contrary to the Charter of the United Nations and is an impediment to the promotion of world peace and cooperation. So, as indigenous people, you, Nubians, have the inalienable rights that a foreigner could not take away, and in that, no foreign government can impose their laws or practices on indigenous people without their agreement, and we never give consent. The United Nations has approved drafted declarations concerning indigenous people, as the draft declaration on the rights of indigenous peoples. It is lengthy, but pull it up and read it. It pertains to you, black people, the true Native Americans. The Caucasian ape man will never teach you this, but will squander billions of dollars in perpetuating and perpetrating the fraud that you are slaves when he knows full well that you are not. Dreading this day when you would finally wake up to the truth of who you are. Nubians, you are the only indigenous people of this planet Earth. Now, who declares a people indigenous? According to the Convention Concerning Indigenous and Tribal Peoples in Independent Countries, Article 1, Section 2 summarizes that it is up to the people themselves to declare themselves indigenous, and we did. Noble Reverend Dr. Malachi Z. York of the United Nubian Nation of Moors, the Yorkies, as the Eatonton town official called us, declared us indigenous people to the United Nations in Geneva using the above mentioned historical and chronological info and his genealogical chart for authenticity. We had regained some of our tribal land, 476 acres in Eatonton, Georgia, where we built pyramids like our ancestors. We have the language Nuwaubic, the ancient Egyptian mystery language, and the culture of the Anunnaki, Nuwaubu. We had already set up an embassy with an ambassador at 404 Shadydale Road, Eatonton, Georgia, 31024 USA. And our final requirement from the United Nations was to prove that we were being persecuted. Consequently, in their malevolent endeavor to disallow, the original inheritors, our inalienable rights of repossession of our land, our country, and our planet Earth, our heritage. On May 5th, 2002, the merciless ruffians and ignoble interlopers stormed and seized our property and even tried to capture and destroy Murduko, Dr. Malachi Z. York, but were fooled, hoodwinked, bamboozled again by Yanun, Dr. Malachi Z. York, who is the master of 360 degrees of the physical realm and 360 degrees of the spiritual realm, just as they were hoodwinked, mystified, and perplexed by Yeshua, Jesus of 2,000 years ago. Now, this is the true and only reason for the ongoing hostage takeover of the United Nubian Nation of Moors property in Eatonton, Georgia. This illegal standoff has been occurring for the past 13 years. You see, the trick is, with no Malachi, we have no other proof of lineage, thus no indigenous status and rights, being that Chief Black Eagle York is the only one with proven documents, a link or silsila all the way back to Adam Codman of 49,000 years ago. So they contrived a wag the dog scenario in the news media, with Catholic priests molesting young boys, and with child molestation subliminally implanted in the forefront of the minds of the public. They pounced down on us using that as an impetus, accusing Marduk of child molestation, yet never found any molested children. What a bunch of disreputable and repugnant reprobates. So now, Mother Nature is in antibacterial mode, vehemently handing out eviction notices effective immediately. Go back home to the mountains, Conan. You have diseased the planet with your leprosy and your malignancy. Lo, in those days shall the mighty and the rulers who possess Tiamat, the planet Earth, implore him to grant them a little respite from his Anunnaki of punishment, to whom they were delivered, that they might fall down and worship before the Adonai of spirits, and confess their sins before him. And they shall bless and glorify the Adonai of spirits, and say, Blessed, blessed is the Adonai of spirits, and the Adonai of rulers, and the Adonai of the mighty, and the Adonai of the rich, and the Adonai of glory, and the Adonai of wisdom. And splendid in every secret thing is your power from generation to generation, and your glory forever and ever. Deep are all your secrets and innumerable, and your righteousness is beyond reckoning. We have learned now that we should glorify and bless the Adonai of rulers, and him who is ruler of rulers. And they shall say, Would that we had rested to glorify and give thanks and confess our faith before his glory. And now we long for our little rest, but find it not. We follow hard on it and obtain it not. And light has vanished from before us, and darkness is our dwelling place forever and ever. For we have not believed before him, nor glorified the name of the Adonai of spirits, but our hope was in the scepter of our kingdom, and in our glory. And in the day of our suffering and tribulation he saves us not. And we find no respite from confession that our Adonai is true in all his works, and in his judgments, and in his justice. and his judgment have no respect of persons. And we pass away before his face on account of our works, and all our sins are reckoned up in righteousness. Now they will say to themselves, our souls are full of unrighteous gain. But it does not prevent us from descending from the midst thereof into the burden of the underworld, Kurnugi. And after that, their faces shall be filled with darkness and shame before the Son of Man, and they shall be driven from his presence, and the sword shall abide before his face in their midst. Thus spoke the Adonai of spirits. This is the ordinance and the judgment with respect to the mighty, and the rulers, and the exalted, and those who possess the planet Earth before the Adonai of spirits. You see, our Nubians creation took place 76 trillion years ago. Then there was the recreation, or in the case of human beings, procreation, which took place 2,250,000 years ago, when great meteorite showers hit the planet Earth and killed all the dinosaurs and most of the prehistoric humans who came from the water and the ground. El Quran 24:45 and 6:2. This meteorite shower occurred in order to destroy the wicked inhabitants who roamed the earth at that time and preyed on the water people, your forbearance. This was the second meteorite shower. The first meteorite shower occurred 17,250,000 years ago. The evolution of man and animals were unbalanced to the point that the dinosaurs ruled the earth because of their size. Man was being killed off. Man lived in constant fear of his predator. And now, the original inhabitants of planet Earth, Nubians, are in the same predicament today. So once again, the universal forces of nature called Tamu Nifu Set, Ta Earth, in the form of sinkholes, earthquakes, landslides, and meteorite showers, shifting tectonic plates, polar magnetic shifts, and weird noises. Mu water, in the form of torrential rains, flash floods, tidal waves, tsunamis, hailstorms, and storm surges. Nifu, wind, in the form of storms, cyclones, hurricanes, tornadoes, typhoons, exhorting from the west quarter of Tiamat. And from those 8 portals come hurtful winds when they are sent. They bring destruction on all Tiamat, and on the waters upon it, and on all who dwell thereon, and on everything which is in the water and on the land. And last of all, set fire in the form of intense solar activity, solar, polar flip, volcanoes, wildfires, meteorite showers. These forces of nine ether are helping us, Nubians, black people of the world, to liberty, godliness, and justice. Nubians, you do not belong to the different races of the planet Earth, so step out of the way and allow Mother Nature to repo the planet. Watch Serious Business. Watch the Hawkeye Davis channel and our video Repo Blues, which is our plea to Mother Nature, the Nikiru, Anunnaki Elohim. The Caucasian beast in sackcloth, Jonah 3:5, knows what is about to transpire, which is why he lives in constant fear of asteroids and meteoroids. He has named the event Eli, Extinction Level Event, which Holy Quran chapter 81 calls the condensed ball, Surah El-Takwir, which states, begin our prayers and thinking by using the name of the source Anu, Alyun El, the Rahman, who is most merciful. When the sun loses its light and is condensed into a ball, solar eclipse, and when the stars are darkened, lunar eclipse, and when the mountains are moved, multiple earthquakes, and when the sheep camels are abandoned, herders abandon their herds, and when the wild beasts are herded together, beasts are kept in cages, and when the seas are caused to boil and burn, all the waters are polluted, and when the spirits are remated with their bodies, New Age movement, spiritualism, and when the infant girls who were buried alive are asked, for what false, guilty actions were you killed? Birth control approved, and when the heavenly skies are pulled from its place, meteorite showers, stars, and when the hell is made to blaze, volcanoes, and when the enclosed garden of the light is brought near the last days, then every person will know all that it has presented. I, Elohim Michael Marduk, do not have to swear by the movement of the solar system and stars, astrology, and by the gliding constellations, zodiacal, and by the shadow hour period when it ends, and by the early daytime hour when it dissolves into the light of day. Surely it is a saying of the one sent, Nusku, in honor. This is the source of power within the essence of the throne that has a firm place.